Mimi naitwa Dorphan, ama Dorphanage kulingana na gani nakuja rahisi kwa ulimi yako. Yeah, I'm a poet, spoken word artist, performing artist. Chenye unataka ku ina fit vizuri, but hey, mimi ni msanii yani. Yeah. Hiyo ni swali lingine kubwa. Hiyo ni swali kubwa sana. Like it's a very broad question, I think, but I'm inspired by life. Like I'm inspired by everyday life. So basically, my poetry is an expression of the human experience. And that's, like the human experience in its entirety, basically, from the personal to the collective. Yeah. So. Okay, some people argue, African art is about, like, is about, like sort of feeling good, and I understand that, but I feel like back then, of course, there was songs about either ceremony or there was songs about, maybe there were dages and that kind of thing, because those were the important things of the time, right? And it just reflected the society as it was then. So I understand that argument, but at the same time now, we are living in a different context where the realities of the day ziko na hizi vitu zote zenye zina. So even when we as an artist, when I talk about, or when I talk about social issues in my art, I'm not doing it because I'm a political artist, because I'm trying to be a conscious artist or anything. It's just because it's the reality of my time, right? I'm seeing these things happen, and these things are around me. So I'm just responding to that. I'm just expressing that human experience. Because, all right, for the fear of being branded, like an activist or an activist, I can say, I'm not going to talk about police brutality, but is it a reality or not? I say I'm not going to talk about corruption and all the mismanagement and bad leadership, bad governance, but is it a reality with us or not? It is a reality, right? So as an artist, if I don't reflect that in my art, then I'm lying to myself, and I'm lying to the people who are listening to me, who are following my work. So for me, it's not even a question of either or, because either or means then you're escaping your reality, right? It's our reality. So I have to talk about it. That has to be reflected in my art. If not, then it means I'm escaping, right? And I feel like right now we have more escapists than we have people who are ready to face the reality. That's why there's a lot of clubs, restaurants, to and there's a lot of churches too, like, so people are trying to escape their reality. But someone has to remind us that there's life beyond that. Because the thing about escaping is that it's like a script. It's gonna come to an end at some point, right? And you see, the moment you start believing in this fantasy of a life, when reality finally hits you, it's gonna be so hard to accept it, And so for me, I don't know. Okay, I think at the end of the day, as an artist, you have a choice to make. If you choose to escape, well and good. If you choose to help people escape, well and good. If you choose to face it, even though facing it sometimes means, people are like, hey, why does your art have to be all, why does it have to be, like depressing all the time? Why do you have to tell sad stories? But what if there's more sad stories around me than there is any good stories, right? Should I just lie to you that we are happy, we are okay? You're not okay, right? I think an evolution, and just like any kind of evolution, kuna kuwaga always na twist and turns. Now, one could argue that one could argue that there's more depth coming from the past, but I understand also that sometimes when there's so much chaos happening, we need this kind of chaos to find an order, right? And I feel like we're at that point where people are trying to find that order. So kuna challenges, right? Why? Because it's much accessible now, and it's much, I think I would say it's much it's less autonomous. I think it's more democratic, to be an artist now, right? So especially for something like poetry has come from a very elitist, like past, where it was for a particular, group of people. But what spoken word did is, spoken word has sort of liberalized poetry. It has made it accessible to everybody, right? Someone from the streets can write poetry, someone can write poetry in jail, right? There's a lot of poets even in America, like who learned out that there's a lot of people who learned how to write poetry in jail, right? And that became, and they became very profound in that. Why? Because at the end of the day, as an expression of their humanity, then they're able to give you a glimpse of their lives, in a way that no other person can ever do, right? Because if you wait to hear their stories from the media, of course it comes with a particular perspective lens, right? Now, so for me, I feel like it's, of course there's these challenges, but at the same time, I feel like we are finding our way. We're finding our way because we're in the information era, but the thing about this information era is that it comes with a lot of distractions as well. So, and the distractions is, before you find any useful information, there's so many things in between, right? And so, right now, it's not even so much about finding, information is not the problem. It's the discipline that is a problem. The discipline to actually stay focused on what relevant information you're looking for. That kind of grounding is what we need to cultivate now, right? But the beauty is that also it's very easy for anybody to get seen, to be visible, right? Because there's social media and all this, But at the same time, you have to see, like, it's a two-sided, three-sided coin if you look at it. So I think at the end of the day is that what I like about it is that it's made poetry accessible to a lot of people. But now, that has come to an extent. It has come at the cost of the craft itself, right? By sometimes, I think that's the way to do it, because at first you introduce people to something and then let them grow into it, right? So I feel like we've introduced people, a lot of people who wouldn't necessarily care about poetry. Now they know about poetry. Now it's something that they're really interested in. And now we're letting them grow into that poetry, right? And that is going to take time, It's not going to happen in a day. And it's our job, as artists, as poets, because we are the people, we are the custodians of this craft, of this language that we call poetry, We're the people teaching those people that language so that they can appreciate and understand what we do, right? And so, and at the same time, it's gone into high schools. When I was coming up, like, there was, I was doing spoken word when I didn't even know what it was, right? And that was past high school. When I was in college, by the time I got to know there's something like spoken word, right? But now look, it's part of the drama music festivals, in high schools. So it means that there's a whole population of people coming out of schools who don't have to be introduced to this craft, right? Who already know what it is. And like us, who, like so many of the stages that we had to step on, we had to sort of, tell people, oh, so yeah, my name is this and this is what I do and this is it, So it's like you have to sort of give that background information on what you're actually doing so that people can understand it. And still people are going to say, hey, mistari, You've gone to perform to clubs, mahali, and then you're doing your thing, and then people think you're talking. Kwani utaimba saa ngapi? Kwani utaimba saa ngapi? Like, because you're expecting, like, you're introducing your song or something, you know, like, so it's like you have to sing after that. But now, you know, we're getting to a point where now people know what this is, right? Even for those who are still in that place where they're not exactly sure what it is, you know, it's not new to them anymore, right? And that's a beautiful thing. Also, it's like every day we find ourselves in spaces that we wouldn't find ourselves in, right? And it's like every time you're living there, you leave the right impression, and then it means you've introduced a whole new group of people to this craft of ours. And it's a beautiful thing when that happens. My parting shot is that, you know, is for all the young people or the people, they like, just express yourself, you know. Whatever you do to express yourself, like, labda ni dancing, labda ni music, you know, labda ni drawing, painting, whatever, just express yourself. Kama ni writing, andika, right? Do not, like, there's no better therapy. You can go to a therapist. There's no better therapy than art, you know, than being able to express yourself. You know, that's a lot, because when you do that, then it means you start dealing with a lot of what you're holding back, and that is very liberating. So, you know, just you know, let it out, and it does. You don't have to put it on stage, you know, you don't have to perform it to people, you know, just by writing it down, just by dancing it off, just by singing it out is, you know, that's a step in the right direction, you know, that's how we are able to deal even with things like mental health, you know, and then, you know, and also that's how we are able to make sense of all this chaos and mess that we find ourselves in. It's messy out here, right? But there's no better way to sort all this mess than art. And that's why I feel like also like we need to push so that like, this is a proper, you know, respectable place for arts in society, in our systems, everything. Like, say, people should be able to respect artists, you know, and artists should have their space where, you know, like, people don't see art as something for failures, you know. It's like, and I feel like we're changing that narrative, you know, right? I have my background in education, you have your background in education, and that's how we make it respectable, you know, by proving to people that, hey, I don't have to have dropped out of high school or to have never gone to college for me to be an artist, right? And art is not just something, you know, you can trash out. Unaweza nipata kila mahali na Dorphanage. Yeah, so search Dorphanage everywhere. You know, you should be able to find me. At Dorphan_age, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You know, we on YouTube, we on Facebook. Yeah, and then Spotify and all digital streaming platforms. Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Peace out. Alright. Hapa tuna check mic, tuko Laikiana, kutoka Rafinki Open Mic.